Hi, this is Joe again with another review. Some time ago, I did a video about the Star Trek: The Next Generation films, and I decided I wasn't satisfied with that because I lumped all four films, the Next Generation cast, into one video, and I decided to redo at least discuss one of the movies anyway. So I'm going to be discussing in this video the 1994 film Star Trek Generations, which is the first film that featured the Next Generation cast and really passing the torch from the original crew to the Next Generation crew. Now, of course, there was a little controversy with this film for a couple of reasons. Not for the actual plot of the film, which we're going to get into, but the fact is that the people who was running Paramount, and particularly running the Star Trek franchise, like Michael Piller and I think there was another Michael involved, Michael Hiller, I think his name was. They were running the Star Trek Next Generation film, plus all the other Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which is the other show that was on the air at the time. And this movie came out, plus the new show, Star Trek Voyager, was coming out in 1995. So for some reason, they took over control of the franchise after Gene Roddenberry's death 3 years earlier, and they were really trying to push to get a Star Trek, a Next Generation movie out. But they were still cranking out or Paramount was still cranking out movies with the original cast in it, those movies was still, even though the Star Trek 5 was a bust. They made Star Trek 6, that was mildly successful, and that was the movie that really ended the original crew's movie franchise. And so they pretty much kicked out the original crew so they could make movies of the Next Generation cast, because the television show was still on the air and was still very successful. And in 1994, that series ended. I think it was in May 94. So 6 months later, the movie Generations came out, and instead of what made the original movie so good is that you had like 10 years before you had a new adventure with the original crew. This time it was like 6 months between when the television show and Next Generation show ended and when the movies started. So you had really no chance to breathe and to soak in and to enjoy the television series before you started enjoying the movies. So you really didn't have 6 years or 600 years or whatever, 10 years between when the Next Generation show ended and when the movie started. You had like 6 months because the fan base, the Star Trek fan base, wanted to see movies of the other Star Trek series, a live action a full-length motion picture of the other television series. Because, where can we have one with the Next Generation cast and all this stuff? So Paramount decided, okay, let's make one more movie with the original cast, which was Star Trek 6, and let's start cranking out movies for the Next Generation. And they waited for when the Next Generation show ended to do the movie. As a matter of fact, they were filming the last season of Next Generation at the same time they were making this movie. And believe me, it shows. It does show. Of course, the film Star Trek Generation does bring back 3 original cast members: Walter Koenig, Chekhov, Scotty, and of course Captain Kirk by William Shatner. They all came back to do this one movie, and it was sad to see this because this was the last movie you saw Chekhov. The last time you see James Doohan playing Scotty, because he died I think less than 10 years after this role. So this was the last time you saw Scotty, the last time you saw Chekhov, and of course it's going to be the last time you see Captain Kirk. And because he does die in the end of this movie, which I'm going to get into. Of course, the plot of this movie it starts off with the Enterprise, with the first voyage, or at least a trial run of the brand new Enterprise, the Enterprise B, with a brand new captain, and they invited Captain Kirk, Scotty, and Chekhov on there. The reason why there's only like three of the original cast members is because DeForest Kelly, they're going to get health insurance on him because he was getting old, he was like failing health by then. And 5 years later, he passed away. Or less than 5 years later, he passed away. And so you just picked, and Leonard Nimoy, who was playing Spock, didn't want to do it. And so, neither was Nichelle Nichols or Uhura. She wasn't in it. They just picked three, and of course, they had to pick Kirk because he was, passing the torch to Picard in the movie. So they picked him. They picked who else going to pick, and so they picked Chekhov and Scotty to be on the Enterprise B, and they encountered this energy ribbon, which was known as the Nexus. And they picked up about 46 people from this one ship that was destroyed by this energy ribbon, and one was Malcolm McDowell, who was the villain, with Dr. Soren, who was trying to get back into the Nexus. He was desperate to get back into this time ribbon. It was like a parallel universe where nothing changes. You could be in there for like years and years and years, and it's like being in the Garden of Eden or an imaginary place where nothing changes, where everything is good and positive, but it was not realistic. It's like a fantasy world, really, where everything good happens to you, and it's all fantasy. It's all made up. But Malcolm McDowell liked being in there because he liked the euphoria of being in there, so he tried to get back in in any way possible. And he destroyed his own ship plus two others trying to do this. And the Enterprise B gets hit by this, and Kirk says, "Oh, I could help you with the effectiveness to help pull us out of this thing." So the captain says, "Okay," of the Enterprise B says, "Okay, do it." So he goes down, does it, and he gets sucked. And Captain Kirk does. He gets sucked into the Nexus. Well, 78 years later, you have, of course, now you have the new crew, the Next Generation crew, and you see Worf get promoted to Lieutenant Commander. You see that happen in the beginning of the film, or the beginning of the Next Generation part of the film. And of course, you have news that Captain Picard's brother and nephew died. Of course, his brother you met in an episode after Picard got abducted by the Borg and went to visit his brother and nephew then. And you never see his brother mentioned again in the television show until, of course, the movie when they die in a fire. So he gets all bummed out, he's all depressed, takes out on everybody, and then tells Counselor Troy what happened. And then, of course, then you get this word with the energy ribbon again. First time in 39 years that this energy, it's kind of like a Halley's Comet, I guess. Every so through X amount of years, like, it comes through. And here comes Soren, so he calculated when it's going to be, so he got back into the Nexus. All he considered about was getting back to the Nexus. And one thing I should also mention, that Whoopi Goldberg's character, Guinan, was also on that original ship that was saved by the Enterprise B. So she knew who Soren was, and they found out that Whoopi Goldberg's character Guinan was on that ship. So Picard got information from her, so you have to stop Soren because he's desperate against his Nexus, because she knew what he was doing, or trying to do. So Picard says, "Oh, what's the Nexus?" And Whoopi Goldberg tells her, "Because I was in there and I got out." Because the stuff in there is not real. It's like a they replaced a reality game or whatever. And it's not reality, the fantasy reality. And I got out of there because I knew it wasn't real, so I got out. But Soren wants to stay in there because his wife and his kid were killed by the Borg. And so he goes to the Nexus, he sees his wife and kid again. Or he relives all that stuff. That's why he wants to stay in there, because of his wife and his kid. Even though it's not, heaven, it's like a facsimile of what happened. So he goes in there and practically gets involved with the Klingons, or the female Klingons who you met in the original, in the Next Generation series. who wants to take over everything, and he got destroyed the Enterprise, and he destroyed that area, and Picard got sucked in there, and he found Captain Kirk, and Guinan says, "Oh, find Captain Kirk," because Guinan's image, a ghost image, was still in the Nexus. So he tells Picard to find Kirk, and it will help you get him out, and you can help Sub Soren, and that's what they eventually did. But Kirk does die. This whole beam of platform landed on him, and he dies. And it was pretty emotional to see Captain Kirk dying, because it was really an end of an era. And of course, there was also the end of the Enterprise D, also gets destroyed. As a matter of fact, they used the same footage for Star Trek 3. When that original Enterprise gets destroyed in Star Trek 3, they used the same special effects for this movie. But as the movie itself, I thought was okay, but I felt that the Next Generation movies were rushed in there to get movies from them, and the rest of the movie series does not do. The whole series really doesn't do so well. And if I ever see the other movies again, I do reviews on that. So that's my review of Star Trek Generations. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rowdyc.com, so WDY, that's C.com. There's a homepage from Rowdy Reviewer Chris Lee Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.